Hey gang, Piano Man Steve Lungrin here. Welcome to the tutorial for Billy Joel's brilliant and beautiful track, You're My Home. This is one I've gotten a lot of requests for, so I'm happy to be honoring it right now. We're going to be in the key of F, first and foremost, and then I want to make a couple of my sort of standard disclaimers here. First and foremost, I will make some mistakes and I will own them when I do. I'll try not to make too much of a big deal out of them, but it's important for you to understand that first and foremost, I have a tendency to try and keep my fingers out of the way so that you can really see what I'm doing. For instance, like this, where my hand might normally be like this. I don't think that's very easy for you to see what in the world I'm doing, so I will be playing a lot of this stuff like this. See, so I'm trying to make sure that I keep my hands out of the way so that you can really enjoy and experience this tutorial. But that leads to occasionally playing a wrong note. Also, I'm staring at the view screen on my camera, which is about that big to me, because I want to see what you're seeing on this video. And that means that maybe I'm not staring at my hands, which is what would help me play it perfectly. So, but if I keep my eye on the view screen, then I don't do something silly like cover up what I'm playing so you have no idea. Anyway, that's my disclaimer. I will probably make some mistakes. And I'll just say, oop, goofed, ignore that, let's try that again. Secondly, this came with, as all of my tutorials from this one going forward, this comes with a little chapter list. I know it's a download, but if you look down in the timeline of the video, unless you ordered this as on some sort of a DVD collection or something, but even then, if you look at the timeline, you can click anywhere you want and it'll go right to that spot. The chapter list is designed to help two different groups of people. First and foremost, I do a lot of repetition for those of you who are not terribly advanced yet. That way you'll get to see me play through each section many times in slow motion because the repetition never hurts, like this. Okay, but for those of you who are kind of advanced, I don't want you to have to sit through lots and lots of repetition on something that you can pick up after hearing it once. So what I do is I've kind of split this into little segments, and I'll go through, I'll show you the basic lick for a section, and then I say, now we're going to do some repetition, and that little chapter list will tell you what time to go to in the timeline so that you can skip past that if you want and get to the next section. So hopefully that will make it easy for people to get what they want out of the experience, as much or as little repetition as you want. And also that will make it easier for you. If you highlight where you were in the video, you'll be able to come back to it really easily the next day without having to search for it. So that's what that's all about. So just that little text document with the chapter list that you get with this video, just take a look at it and use it to your advantage. Don't use it, I don't care, but it's there. I created it especially for you. So I think that just about does it, but I love this song. I love Billy Joel, and I love teaching his music to other people that love his music. So let's stop yapping and we'll get started in the next section. Okay, so let's take a look at the beginning of this song. What we're going to learn first is the little introduction to the thing, which is kind of a light sounding. This is a kind of a repetitive song, so once you learn a little bit of it, you know most of it. But the intro starts out like this. When you look into my eyes, me see the crazy gypsy in my soul. So, but we're going to work on the spot that comes even before he starts singing. And it's a basic pattern that's going on here. Your left hand's going to basically be on Fs. You want to be only up on a higher F. So find middle C, which is right there. Your thumb's going to be on this F. Your pinky's going to be on this F. It's going to be right there, and you're going to play it really light. And basically you're just going to be holding it in whole notes, like 1, 2, you know, or well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's kind of cut time, so you can think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can think of it as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Really doesn't matter, but that's what we're going to be doing. Is we're going to kind of hold it for either whole notes or half notes, however you like to think of it, whether it's in cut time or 4/4. But so we're going to play it very lightly. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, pretty simple stuff. Now the right hand is going to play this little pattern like I was saying that goes. Okay, so what are we doing there? I need you to find middle C with your thumb. You're going to put your middle finger on an F. Then you're going to put your pinky on A, so you're forming an F chord in the second inversion. For those of you who know about chords and inversions. If you don't know, you don't need to know. However, you might want to pick up my video called Understanding Chord Symbols, Volume 1. That kind of information can be really helpful with these tutorials. As well as, by the way, Become Your Own Rhythm section, where you learn a lot of the basic techniques that we're going to do here. So if you've already practiced doing this, it helps. So anyway, enough of that, but find this F chord right here, C, F, and A. So the basic pattern that we're going to be playing in the right hand starts by, and this is what you're going to be looking for, you're going to play something with one of your middle 3 fingers, followed by something with your thumb, and then your pinky up here. Then back to your thumb. So like this. In this case, we're F, C, A, C. F, C, A, C. So just take a second and get used to doing that. F, C, A, C. F, C, A, C. Now, I'm going to move on and I'm going to basically teach somewhat quickly the entire pattern that goes from here. Okay? Then I'll do a review so that the folks who've kind of picked that up already and feel advanced enough to move on, they can move on. And for those of you who need a little bit of practice, we'll go through it many, many, many times like we have in my past tutorials so that there's no confusion. You'll get plenty of chances. So this first chord is the F, so it's F, C, A, C, F, C, A, C. Then it moves to a C chord, kind of a C6 over an F chord. So it's going to be E, C, A, C, just like we were here, but now it's here. Okay, so we were here in the F chord, then to a C6. Now we're on to an E flat chord, and what we're going to do is we're going to play an E flat with your index finger, then a B flat with your thumb here, and then a B flat with your pinky. then back to your thumb. Okay? And then finally you're going to play a B flat chord, which is you start with a D in your index finger, then you play a B flat with your thumb, and a B flat with your pinky, then back to your thumb. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. Okay, now this is the only thing that changes is in this B flat chord you do this D, B flat, B flat, B flat, then you play your D again, so your D, B flat, B flat, B flat, D, B flat, now you go D, B flat, E, B flat, because what it's happening there is it's almost like the chord is going, you've got an F bass all the way through, and it's almost like the chords are going F, C6, E flat, B flat, C, F. See? And what you're doing here is so that makes sense. What you're doing when you hit that B flat again is it's D, B flat, B flat, B flat, D, B flat, D, B flat, E, B flat. Okay, and it's all over these F, right on the downbeats, these Fs. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I'm just going to play through it twice at kind of a slow speed, and then we'll do a review and you can move on or not. So here it is in kind of slow speed. Okay, let's take another quick peek at that. Okay, now I'm just going to play through it at kind of full speed twice through. And remember, you play that whole line that we just learned, you play through it twice in a row, and that's the intro. So I'm going to play through it at full speed without trying to have my hands all screwy so you can get some continuity, and then we'll move into the review. So when that all comes together, it should look and sound like this. Okay, so one more time at full speed. Okay, and what you're going to want to do on the sustain pedal as well is that you'll probably want to hold it down at the beginning of each phrase. So each time that you hit that F with your left hand, just as you're about ready to let up and hit it again, let up on the pedal and then come down on the pedal at the same time with the left hand. So it's like okay, because you want that to sustain. You want the chord to kind of resonate, but you don't want the chords flooding into each other. So you don't want this F chord flooding into the C6 and then into the E flat and then the B flat. So okay, so we're gonna do kind of, you know, several times through, 5 to 10 times through in the next section of what we've just learned there. If you don't need it, skip on to the next chapter and refer to your list, and I'll see you in the review if you do want that repetition. Alright, so what we're going to be doing here is reviewing what we've just learned in the last section. So again, your left hand is simply going to be on octave Fs, and it's going to be playing on the downbeats of the phrases. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's at full speed, so that's it. Okay, so that's what the left hand's going to be doing along with the sustain pedal. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The right hand is where all the movement is. You're going to have your hand right here on an F chord in the second inversion, which is C with your thumb, F with your middle finger, A with your pinky. And again, that pattern is middle thumb, 5 thumb. And so that's going to be your basic pattern through pretty much the whole song, is that one of these 3 fingers will play, then your thumb will play, then your pinky will play, then your thumb again, and then back to your middle thing. So ba bum 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 ba bum ba bum ba bum bum. Okay, so that's your pattern. And as we said, this is where we're at on the first chord. Then it moves to a C6, which is E, C, A, C. Then it goes to an E flat chord, which is E flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. Then to a B flat chord, which is D, B flat, B flat, B flat, D, B flat, D, B flat, E, B flat. That was the little change that we have. Okay, so I'm just going to play through that phrase in slow motion with my fingers out of the way several times in a row. Play along with me or watch or whatever helps you the most. See, that's one of those times where I goofed. Ignore that. Here we go. to go back. I'm just going to keep playing through that over and over for some time. Just keep watching and playing along with me. Okay, and I'm just going to play through it a couple times, not at full speed, but faster than that. Okay, so at full speed and without my hands all crooked up. Now, the great thing is that once you learn that, you really have learned about 70% of the song. This is a very repetitive song, and it uses that exact line or most of that exact line repeatedly throughout the whole tune. So, master this section, you are a long way into knowing the whole rest of the song. So, good work. I'll see you in the next section. We're going to look at the verses, which are very, very similar. So, I'll see you there. Okay, now we're going to learn the verses to this song, which, congratulations, by the way, by learning the intro that we just did. You've learned the lion's share of most of the rest of the song. It's very, very similar. I mean, let me play through the verse real quick, and then you can hear how much of what you've already learned is in there already. It goes like this. Okay, so a lot of what we've already learned is just regurgitated in some way. So let's start. We start out with with our hands right here where we were, playing this little F chord. Now on the left hand, we're still in octaves, but instead of just playing on the downbeats, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I like to think of it in 4/4 myself, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, okay? It's actually going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So bum, 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 bum. That gives pace to the whole thing. See? At the beginning, we want it to sound kind of like there's just a guitar playing it by itself. That's why we just play on the downbeats during the intro. But then when we come in and start singing with it, we want it to liven up, and we need to give it a little bit of pace. So by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, then we get, when you look into my eyes and you see the crazy gypsy in my soul, it always comes as a surprise, you know. So that's kind of the idea. It gives pace. So we're still here in the same position, and we're just going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So let's slow the whole thing down. Take a look at where we're at. So if we're playing this little section, which we've already learned, F, C, A, C, F, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's where our left-handed is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So we're gonna start out. You get to start out by playing something you've already learned, which is this little guy here on F. And then you move to the C6 that we already learned, which is E, C, A, C. And then we move to the E flat, which we already learned, which is E flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. Okay? Now we play through that for 2 full rounds. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So watch that. I'll play it in slow motion. Okay. Now again, I will go through and do a review on this. I'm not going to spend lots of time going, this section is to give you the idea. I'll do a review with lots of repetition in the next section so that if you want that, you'll have time. For those of you who feel like you've already picked it up, we'll just move on. So then we go from that place to a B flat bass down here, octaves, and we play our B flat, which is D, B flat, B flat, B flat, D, B flat, B flat, B flat. We do not do the way we did in the intro. We just stay right here. We play through that twice as well, just like we did the E flat. The difference is that we go from a B flat bass in the first round, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then go to a G, because it goes to a G minor chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we'll go to a C next. But so take a look at that whole line kind of in slow motion. Okay, I'm going to do that that one more time in slow motion, then I'll play it at full speed. Then the next section we'll do a review on just. Okay? So we're going to pick up the rest of the verse in the next section, but what I'm going to do now is a review of what we've just worked on, and at full speed, this is what we're going to be doing a review of. We'll play it through many times in slow motion, and it's like this. It'll be this section that we've learned so far of the verse. Okay, let me do that again at full speed. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in the next chapter of the video, and then after that we'll start with what comes next in the verse, which is a little thing that goes. Okay, so that's what will be coming up. And we're going to start the review right now, so if you want to skip it, refer to your chapter list. Okie dokie, now we are on to a review of what we've done. So I'm going to just play through what we've just been talking about in very slow motion. And again, most of this is stuff that we had to learn for the intro anyway. In fact, it's all stuff, it's just arranged just slightly differently. So watch me in slow motion. And we're just going to go through it like we always do. Excuse me. Okay, again. Excuse me, that was a botch. Let me do that one more time. It gets confusing when you're used to playing it at a really fast tempo, but I can do this, and I apologize for my mistakes. Okay, and again. Okay, I'm going to pick the pace up just a little bit, but not to full, and we're going to do that again. Okay, and again. Okay, a couple more times. Okay, one more time like that, then I'll play through the whole line at full speed. Okay, and at full speed it's like this. Again. Alright, in the next section we're going to start by learning what comes next, which is on a C chord, which goes. So, anyway, we'll see you there. Good work, and make sure you master this, because again, once you've mastered this stuff, you've learned the lion's share of the song. So, I'll see you in the next section. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to learn the rest of the verse. It starts when we've gotten through that G minor, so we have already played this far. So we're going to start by learning this. Okay? The C, we go to a C chord. Your right hand is on G, C, and E. I like to play thumb on G. I like to play index finger on C. And I like to put my fourth finger, my ring finger, down on an E. Okay? Your left hand goes into octaves on C. So you were on G, you come up to C, and you're just doing the same thing you've been doing, which is 1, 2, bum, 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 bum. Okay, bum, 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 bum. That's all you're doing down there. This is where all the movement is. It looks like this. You're playing E, then G, E, G, C, E, G, C, F, G, C. So practice that. Okay, then it goes to a G up here, and then a G down here with your thumb. So that, up to that point, it looks like this. And underneath it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And again, we'll do an extensive review of this, so I'm going to move on to the next section, or to the next part. But don't worry if you didn't get it yet, you're going to have plenty of time to watch it and copy in just a few seconds, or just a minute or two. So from there, now you go F, E, D, C, F, E, D, C, and I like to do it with my pinky. Pinky here, ring finger, middle finger, index finger. And then it's G, C, D, C. So watch that all in context in slow motion. So that's where we're going with that. One more time in slow motion, then we'll hit it again in the review. Okay, then we're right back to what we've already played, which is and then you play that again. Okay, so there you're already up to speed, and then it goes to the little section where he says, you know, well, I never had a place that I could call my very own. Okay, so when it goes to that section, you go to an A in the bass, and you have your index finger on a C, your thumb on a G, and I put my fourth finger here on an E, and you're on an A minor 7th chord, and you follow the same pattern that we've been doing. Something in the middle, then low with your thumb, and then up above. So C, G, E, G. See that? Okay. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then it simply goes to a B flat chord, which is B flat, D, and F with a B flat bass. And you just play it like this, bum, then an F chord over an A, which is A, C, F, and an A bass, bum, then a G minor 7th chord, which is this B flat, D, F here again with a G bass. Then you keep your right hand exactly where it's at and play that again with a B flat bass, because it's a B flat major chord, bum, and then a C chord, bum, which is C, E, and G over a C bass. Okay, and then you'll be back to your strumming. So what does that look like in context? I'll play it slower, not really slow motion, but slower than full speed, so you can see how it all plays out. The whole verse. Okay, so let's just start with, basically I'll just play through the entire second half of the verse. So we'll start here, and that'll show you that whole section followed by this thing. And then we'll go into, okay, so this is from the middle of the verse to the end of the verse, and I'll show you all the different sections within there. Okay, for those of you who are up to speed, you can skip the next section, but for those of you who are ready for a review and want to just go through that whole thing in depth and see lots of repetition, that's what we're going to do in the next chapter. So we're going to go from the beginning of the verse all the way to the end of the verse, in slow motion and just go over it many, many times. So I'll see you in the verse review. Okay, so now we're just going to take that whole verse and we're going to run through it, except I'm going to play half the verse, because if you'll notice, this is actually very repetitive. You play this much of the verse, you play twice through this section right here when you go. That you actually play through twice. So what I'm going to do is play the second time. You go through it and work right into, well, I'll never be a stranger and I'll never be alone. Whenever we're together, that's my home. That part, I'll go right into that, and that's what we're going to play, because it shows you the whole verse and it'll give you a little more continuity. And then, I'll gradually increase the speed, and then we'll go through it at full speed a couple of times. So here we go, and super slow motion, the verse goes like this. Okay, right back into it. Here we go. And again. Okay, and again. I'm going to pick up the speed just a little bit and go through it a couple times a little faster, but not at full speed. You know what? Ignore that. I just botched it. Let me try that again. And again at that tempo. just a little bit faster. And then at full speed, that verse sounds like this. Congratulations, folks. That is the verse, and there are, let me see here, at least 3 verses in the song. So you've learned between the intro and the verse, now you have learned what you need to know to play about 70% of the song. We're going to move on in the next section, and I'm going to show you the bridge, which is where they go, home can be the Pennsylvania Turnpike, that whole thing. So that's what's coming up next, and then we'll do some solos and some other cool stuff. So stay with me, look forward to it. Okay, it's time to move on to the next section. We're going to be learning the bridge now. So where we've been, we've already learned how to go, that's alright my love, 'cause you're my home, and we have to learn how to transition into the bridge. Which the good news is you've already learned a lot of that, because what's happening is you're my home. Okay, so most of that you've already learned. So let's take a look at what this transition is. You start here right on this F chord that you keep playing over and over throughout the song. Okay. Then you move to the C6. Now we go to the B flat that you've played, which is D, B flat, B flat. See? Then we move back to F. The only real thing that's happening here is that in the left hand, you stay on octave Fs through the whole thing, so it's now down to E. So that's the last thing that you're going to play. So if you think about it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So your bass is just kind of transitioning down, because we'll be playing a D next. Okay? So that's what you need to be working on there. But other than that, you just play your F chord, then your C6 chord, then the B flat chord, and then back to F, and you just have that minor movement here. So watch that in context in slow motion, play through it a couple times, and then I'll do a quick review on it, and then we'll move on. So okay, let me do that again, because I have a tendency sometimes to what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes I'll ad-lib a little bit and I won't even realize it, and I ad-libbed a little bit in the right hand, but it was still about 99% accurate. So take a look at it like this. I apologize, folks. Okay, again. okay, and at full speed. Okay? So, I'm going to run through that in this next section. I'm going to just go through that line of maybe 3 or 4 times really slow. If you want to skip over it, just look at the chapter list, and then we'll move on to the rest of the bridge. Okay, so a review on this little transition from the verse to the bridge. Here we go. Just watch it real slow. Again. Excuse me, I gotta make sure I do the left hand right. And again. One more time, just a little bit faster. Okay, I'll see you in the next spot. We're going to finish looking at the bridge here. Alright, so now we're moving on to the bridge where we're saying, home can be the Pennsylvania Turnpike. That's where we are in the song. So what's happening here is that we have just transitioned. You're going to be on octave Ds. We go to a D minor chord here in the left hand and the right hand both, actually, obviously. We go to octave Ds in the left hand. And it's the same pattern. Bum, 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 bum. Okay? So it's D, D, C, C, F. So. Okay? So what's happening here in the right hand? Well, we start forming a D minor chord. And our hand gets to stay in the same place that it was, right here where you were forming your F chord. Because it's a D minor 7th chord. And a D minor 7th is basically an F chord with a D bass. So you're right here, and you get to play this same pattern that you've been playing over and over. Only with a D bass, so see how that sounds? Okay, bum, 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 bum. So that's where we're at first. Then we move to a C chord, which simply keep your thumb on C and move your middle finger and your pinky down to an E and a G. And you go to a C in the bass, and you're right here. So we were here. That's not so bad, is it? So. Okay, that's at full speed, but again, slow. Coming out of our transition, we were going here. Okay, and we will will do a review on this. You'll get to see that over and over and over in the next section. But we'll move on for those of you who are picking it up faster, and then we'll go back and run through it several times so you get the repetition for those of you who feel that you need it. So we've gone from a D minor now we're back to F. So you know this part. Same thing that we've been doing. We just come back up to Fs. And we do our little left hand transition when we're on F, E, D. Okay? So watch that whole thing in context. This is starting with our transition. D minor, C, F, down to the E. So watch that again. D minor, C. Sorry about that. I'm gonna do that again and try and not screw my fingers up here. So here's our transition. D minor, C, F, E, then we're back to D minor. Okay? So see, it's pretty much doing things you've already done with your right hand. It's just moving your left hand to a different place. Okay, then we go back to a D minor and we're here where you were. Only this time now we move to an A. We're going to play an A minor, 7th. So you move your left hand down to an A. You still play a C triad up here. E, C, G, C. Because it's an A minor 7th, and an A minor 7th chord is basically a C major chord with an A bass. Okay? So see how we're doing that? Okay. From there, we move to a G minor chord, which what we're going to do is we're going to move your left hand down to a G bass. And you're going to be playing D, B flat, F, B flat. You might want to do it like this with your thumb and 3 and 5. I'm going to do it like this to try and make sure you see which notes are getting hit. So let's look at that whole line. Let's look at the entire line, starting with our transition that we learned, and move into the bridge here so that you can see this in context. So we've just gone, whenever we're together, that's my home, and we come in and we go. Excuse me, I just had a bug fly up my ear. I know, it's terrible, and that's on there for all eternity now, but that's what happened and it screwed me up. So let's try that again. That's the movement. So let's look at that again. Except I'll play it right this time. D minor, C, F. D minor, A minor, B flat, or G minor actually. Alright, so what I'm going to do here real quick is we're gonna do a review on that entire what we've done so far, okay, and then we'll finish the last little bit of the bridge. But I don't want the folks that need a little more repetition to get lost here. So if you are up to speed, skip the review, go to the next spot on your chapter list. But for now, we're just going to take everything that we've just talked about and go over it several times slow and make sure that we've got everything kind of up to snuff. So I'll see you there. Okay, so let's review what we've learned so far in the bridge. We've learned our transition, which is like this. I'm gonna play it all at kind of regular tempo, and then we'll slow it down. So we know that we learned this. We come in on our F chord, then C6, then B flat, then F, D minor, C, F, D minor, A minor, G minor 7th. Okay, so now let's break that down and do it slow. Here's that whole line that I just played in slow motion, starting with the transition. Okay, let me go through. I'm going to do that 3 or 4 more times, just really slow so you can really see what's happening here, starting with the transition into the bridge. Okay, and again. And again, starting from the same place. Okay, I'm going to pick the pace up just a little bit. Again, at about that tempo. Okay, even a little bit faster. One more time at about that tempo. Okay, and after you've done that enough times, you'll be able to just play it and it'll look and sound like this. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the rest of the bridge. And then after that, we'll work on the pretty little piano solo. So I'll see you in the next section. Okay, we're on to the rest of the bridge here. Now, it's pretty much stuff that you've already learned. There was a method to my madness doing it that way. Because now that you've been through the review and learned the first half, the second half will really be a breeze and we won't need a lot of time to do it. So, we've just gone from the transition then we've gone to the first half where it says home can be the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Indiana's early morning dew. Okay, now we're back to D minor. This is where we're going to start this section. We're back to this D minor 7th, so it's here. Then a C again, like we did before. And back to F, just like we did before. You know. Then back down to this E here. See how that's going? So watch that line. High up in the hills of California. Okay, you've played that before. You've already played that before. It's just like the beginning of that bridge. So, okay. The only difference, as you'll see there, is that instead of continuing to flow, it's just we strum right here. So instead of playing these 3 notes like this, you just play them all 3 together as a chord with that D. Home is just another, and then we go down to the A minor and do the same thing. So it's here, C, E, and G over an A. Another word for you, and then we come down and do the same thing over G. So it's that B flat, D, and F just as a chord. Okay, so watch that in context. Hi. Alright, that's all there is, really. So, watch that one more time. Excuse me, see, and I'm playing it slow and I botched it, so let me try that again. Okay, so a little bit faster pace. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, in somewhat slow motion, just play from the transition all the way to the end of the bridge where we just got, so that you can see how it all fits together. Okay, one more time all the way through there. Okay, and then when you play it at full speed, it's like this. Let me do that one more time because I made a couple of small mistakes. Continuity won't hurt you, and it'll help my ego if I play it right. Okay, that's the bridge. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at the the little piano solo. That thing. So that's what's coming up, and I'll see you in the next section. All right. Well, we are now moving on to one of my very favorite parts of this song, and that is the little piano solo in the middle. That's where it goes. So let's get started. It's actually relatively simple. It's the same bass line as what you would follow if we were playing one of the verses. So you're on F's, bum, 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 B flat, G, C, bum. Now, we've been playing our F's up here. If it were me for the solo, I'd drop it an octave. You don't have to, it'll work fine here. But when you drop it an octave, it gives it a little bit more what we call depth. You know, it just widens the sound out. Okay, so that's kind of where that's at, but you're just going to be in those octave, the same chord progression. F, bum, 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 then up to B flat, then G, then C, 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 then F again. Bum, 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 then back to B flat, then G, then C. Okay, now what are we doing up here? Well, it's kind of octaves a little bit, but there's a little, you're going to need to be using your pinky and your thumb, and then either your fourth finger and or your middle finger. So here's how I like to do it. We're on A with your thumb here, which is just above middle C, and one above that. And I like to put my fourth finger down on F. You're playing a sort of an F chord here. But what's happening is that you have to sort of match. If you'll remember when you were playing this stuff, we were in an F chord, then it went to a C6 chord, and then an E flat chord. So what you have to do is sort of get a hint of that chord progression going here. So you start here, bum, ba, bum, okay? And then you're going to bring your third finger in on E and replace that F note. So watch what's happening really slow. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Okay? Okay? So, that's the first step. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. And then it jumps to C octaves. And I'd play the octaves by themselves first, bum, and then you come in with your index finger and play an E flat with it. So it's like this, really slow. Does that make sense? Now, if you're really ambitious, you could go like this. Okay? So you could play the E natural with your index finger and then come down. And there's nothing wrong with that. It sounds great. I just tend to be a little bit lazy and just go. But if you wanted to, you could go. Okay? So that's how that starts. Okay? The next part is all octaves, just completely octaves, no chords. And it's B flat, down to A and back to B flat. Bum, ba, bum. And then it's this line here, B flat, A, F, D. B flat, A, F, D, C. So watch how that goes. Then a C. So watch that whole. Oops. Okay. Okay, so watch the whole line kind of in slow motion. Now, if you want, you can play a C chord or just this. I personally, I would keep the chords very simple. Because you're really trying to focus. Here's the thing, I know a lot of people think it's always best to play thick, dense chords. In this case, you're really trying to highlight this melody. Bum, you know, bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba bum 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 ba bum 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 ba bum bum. Okay? And the more notes you have playing, the harder it is to, you know, to distinguish what's really important, which is, you know, okay, so if you're going to play a chord when you hit that C, I would only play an E and then have these two C's, because that'll keep that sound very front and center. So here's maybe the way you could play it if it were me. I would go like so. Okay. See, and if you watch Billy Joel play it live, of course he's playing with a band, so we've got to keep our left hand going or else the sound disappears, okay? But he actually, to highlight it, he plays the whole thing like this with two hands. And he'll go. Or, you know. Or whatever, you know. So he'll actually do it with two hands because it's so important to make sure that these notes But we've got to do it with one hand so that we can keep the left hand going. And then it's F, G. So watch that whole line one more time in slow motion. Then F, G. Then the second half of it is similar. You start out and you do your... But now you go... You're here, ba bum. Okay, so you're C, E natural, and C up to D, F, and D. But when you come back down, you have to be on an E flat instead of an E natural on your C's. So see, watch how that plays out in slow motion. And then, of course, that whole thing. So watch what we've learned so far in slow motion here. Okay. Now, if you want to be vanilla, you can just come back down to here. So, if you want to play it kind of a little bit less frilly, or if that's a good place for you to start, then you can just do that. It'd just be... Okay. However, I'm going to teach here. First, I'm going to do a review of what we've just gone through, and then I'm going to teach what Billy Joel tends to do when he's playing live, which is go. Okay? So, I'm going to teach that section, but what I'm going to do is this next chapter is just going to be a review on everything we've learned so far in that little solo. Then I will teach the, that whole thing. And then we'll move on. So enjoy the review. If you don't need it, just skip to the next chapter. Alright. So here we are. Just watch this sucker in slow motion several times because I think that's what can help the most. Okay, and again. Again, here we go. Sorry. There we go. Okay, and again, the whole thing. Here we go. And again, here we go, yes. And a little faster. Oops. And again, yes. And hopefully at some point it'll be comfortable enough that you can just go along. Okay, we will move on in the next section. I'm going to teach you this little. Okay? Okay, now we're going to learn this fun live treat that you get when you see Billy Joel play. So instead of coming down and just going, we're going to teach how to go. Okay, so what you need to do is, here's middle C, find a C above it, and then find a G above that. That's where your thumb goes. And it's G, E, C, G. Okay, followed immediately by D, B flat, F. So, and that's followed immediately by C, A, E. So watch that, those three arpeggios there. By the way, if you don't know what arpeggio means, don't worry. It's just inside talk for when you take a chord and you play them note by note instead of all three of them together. Okay? Followed immediately by B flat, G, D, and then A, G, F, G. So watch that whole line slowly. So watch that in context with the left hand. You're basically just going to be on a C in the left hand doing your bum, bum, bum. So we've just played okay? So I will do a review of that. For those of you who've already picked up on it or feel like you've picked up enough on it to practice, you can skip. But we're just going to do a review on that section next. And then you can skip to the next chapter if you don't feel like you need it. Okay, so let's review this little live dealie that we just learned. Sorry, see, I play it wrong quite often. That's how I like to do it. I just like to move my pinky down. One. So we're here, then there, then there, then there, then there. See? But you can pick a fingering that works for you. But this is my fingering that I use. Okay? So let me just play through, maybe I'll come into it going that, okay, and then I'll go right into that, and I'll just do that slow a few times for you to watch, and then we'll do the whole line at kind of a medium tempo a few times. Okay? So let's just, I'm going to play at kind of a slow, medium tempo the entire. Okay? And again. And again. Okay? So, and then as you pick up speed, you'll just be able to go. Okay? So then, in the next section, I'm just going to show where you go after that, and we're basically going to work on the outro. How do you end the song? Alright? So, I'll see you in the next section. Okay, now after you've played this little solo that we just learned, you're just coming right back down, because the part of the song that it goes to says, well, I never had a place that I could call my very own. That's alright, my love, 'cause you're my home. That whole thing. So, you're just coming right back down to, you move your hand down, you're on an A minor chord, and we've already learned how to do this. C, G, E, C, G, E, G. So I'm not going to reteach that. You can learn that simply by learning the verse, okay? But that's where you come to, is that second half of the verse where it would go, well, I never had a place that I could call my very own. Now, what is important is that when you say, 'cause you're my home, is that when you're transitioning in between verses, there's a slight difference between how you'd go into the bridge and how you go in between verses. Because if you'll recall, when we went into the bridge, we went, we were on F, then C6, then B flat, then back to F. Okay? In between verses, we go F, C6, B flat, then C, which is just E, C, G, C. So watch this. You've come out of this whole place that I could call my very own. But that's alright, my love, 'cause you're my home. Now we're ready for the final verse. That's the same in between verse 1 and verse 2. It's the same between the piano solo, which is essentially a verse 3. There's a piano solo and then you finish the end of the verse. It's in between that and verse 4. The only time that you don't go from B flat to C like that is when you're transitioning into home can be the Pennsylvania Turnpike. That whole thing. So, again, I'm just going to play that little section one more time so that you can see it here. Here we go. F, C6, B flat, C, then it's if I wander all my life, and you've learned how to do this because all the verses are the same. So I'm not going to rehash what we've already learned. Pick that up and look at the verses. But it is important to understand that minor shift in the way they handle the transitions. Okay? And I'll cover that in final continuity at the end. So what I want to touch on now is how do we end this thing, okay? Because when we finally go, you're my castle, you're my cabin, and my instant pleasure dome. I need you in my house, 'cause you're my home. You're my home. Okay, so I've got some stuff to teach you about how to end the song. But it's important first, you learned this little transition where we were going C6, B flat, then C. That is the chord progression that you play as you're getting out of the song. You know, I need you in my house 'cause you're my home. You're my home. Sorry, I sound like I'm, like 14 years old right now because I didn't get enough sleep last night. So I apologize for my voice breaking. But anyway, F, C6, B flat, C, C, just C. You could literally, on your way out, if you didn't want to do anything else, you could just play that chord progression and be right. I need you in my house 'cause you're my home. You're my home. So if you wanted to start playing it and you didn't have all of the other intricacies down yet, you could just do that because that really is what's happening. That's the chord progression. So you start by playing that. After you've gone through that for one round, then you come up and you sort of play like we did in the solo. Except now, instead of playing that, it goes to here. D, F, and C. And then I kind of do a little 2, 3, 4 on E and G because it shows that the chord has changed a little bit. So watch that in context here. Okay, even slower. Okay, does that make sense? So we've gone, you're my castle, you're my cabin, and my instant pleasure dome. I need you in my house, 'cause you're my home. You're my home. And you run through that twice or even 3 times if you want. It's really up to you. You can drag the ending out as long as you want. But you want to start by playing this little line. Which we've learned over and over and over and over throughout the song. And then the second time through, rather than play that, you want to come up and go. Okay, so let's watch that in context. I'll play it slow a few times, then I'll play it a little bit faster. I need you in my house, 'cause you're my home. You're my Okay, again, a little slower, or I mean on the slow side. I need you in my house, 'cause you're my home. You're my home. Okay, and a little bit faster in context. I need you in my house, 'cause you're my home. My home. Okay, now the very final thing that he does live is a little deal that goes like this. Okay, it's kind of like that. Let me play that better. Okay. So what is this? Well, find C above middle C and put your thumb on it. And put your pinky down on an A above that. You're going to play those two together. And then you're going to play A, G, F. And your C is kind of being held throughout. Okay. See how that's working? I hold the C while I move through those notes. Okay? And then I go to a C and a G. Bum, bum, E, C. Watch that really slow. And then we go to a B flat chord, which is F and B flat together like that. Bum, 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 bum. F, D, B flat. Bum, 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 bum. So see how it was 1, 2, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. And then we're here on G, C, and E, bum, and it's E, D, C, G, F, E, and then an F chord. So watch it real slow. Okay, so what's most important on this, obviously, other than the notes, is the syncopation. 1, 2, ba-da-dum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. That rhythm is very important. Ba-da-da. Even a little bit faster. All of it's being done over F bass. botched that, sorry. One more time here. Okay. And you can of course rewind and watch that section as much as you need to figure out that little lick, but it's pretty cool. It sounds great in context. And what I'm going to do here in the last chapter is I'm just going to run through the whole song so that you can see how all the different things that we've learned piece together to form You're My Home. So I'll see you there, and then we'll be wrapped. Okay, so here we go. We learned this little bit here that it opens like this. When you look into my eyes, then you see the crazy gypsy in my soul. It always comes as a surprise when I feel my withered roots begin to grow. I've never had a place that I could call my very own, but that's alright, my love, 'cause you're my home. Now here, see, that's that transition we learned late in the lesson. Touch my weary head, same as the first verse. Tell me everything will be alright. You say, use my body for your bed, and my love will keep you warm throughout the night. Well, I'll never be a stranger, and I'll never be alone. Whenever we're together, that's my home. Now here's the transition into the bridge. Remember, F, C6, B flat, back to F. Home can be the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Indiana's early morning dew, high up in the hills of California. Just another word for you. Well, I never had a place that I could call. See how we went then back to here, which is part of what we learned in the verse. I never had a place that I could call my very own. That's alright, my love, 'cause you're my home. There's that transition we talked about that's in between verses. If I wander all my life, same as first and second verse, and I never get to stop and settle down, long as I have you by my side, oh, there's a roof above and good walls all around. You're my castle, you're my cabin, and my instant pleasure dome. I need you in my house, 'cause you're my home. Now we're taking it out, so we start here with home. You're my home. And there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoy it. This is a beautiful song. It's a fun song to play. It's just got a wonderful kind of feel and flow to it. I honestly can't believe they didn't release that as a single. I think that would have been a hit. It's got a great hook, all of that. I love the song. It was on the Piano Man album, and the only thing that really was released that I know of there was Piano Man. Now, I love Piano Man. For heaven's sakes, I call myself Piano Man Steve. It's kind of one of my signature songs. But I really can't believe that they thought that would be a hit and not You're My Home. And that's not to say what I like better. It's just I'm just musing. I'm surprised. I think that would have been a hit single for him, but they didn't. And anyway, so it's one of those forgotten tracks. But us Billy Joel fans, we know about it, don't we? So beautiful tune. Thank you for purchasing this video and for continuing to give me a chance to spread what I've learned over the last couple decades. So again, hope you enjoy it. Remember, as always, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. And I will see you on the next video, folks. Take care.